Corpse Party's Unrefined anime adaptation. Corpse Party is a horror game series about a group of high school students who will perform a ritual charm in honour of their friend, who's leaving. The charm, which is known as Sachiko Forever, involves a small paper doll. Each member of the group must tear a piece from the doll and chant, "Sachiko, we beg of you." It is said that those who perform this charm will always be together. As long as you have the paper scrap in hand, you'll never be far from your friends. Things take a dark turn, however, as an earthquake drags the students below the ground into another reality. A haunted, long-forgotten school known as the Heavenly Host Academy, infested by unrestful spirits of the dead. Our protagonists are going to have to make heavy sacrifices in order to survive this terrible place. That is, of course, if the survival is even possible. In concept, Corpse Party has a fantastically engaging story. However, for its grim content to fully take effect, it must be executed properly. The original game, while not being shy of some flaws, executes its story well with good characters and pacing. The anime adaptation, Tortured Souls, however, does not quite live up to the game's hype. In concept, an anime adaptation of the game is a great idea. The 8-bit style with occasional 2D character sprite does leave a lot of room for imagination. Instead of shocking the player with intense graphic imagery, the game instead tells its story through music, sound effects, and well-written descriptions. Horror tends to work best when the viewer is left to their imagination. Often the conclusion we draw in our heads is far worse than anything that can be shown on screen. An anime adaptation of this game could very well work if it had the right atmosphere. The seeds of a good adaptation are definitely present in the final product. The music is great, the animation is solid, and the engaging story is still there even if it's told a little differently. With all these elements in place, why is it that the game works better as a standalone story? I believe there's a few elements holding it back from its true potential. The biggest problem the anime has is its short runtime. Corpse Party has a lot of story to tell, and there's a lot of exposition throughout the game explaining how this world works. As the game takes its time to slowly reel the audience in, the constant exposition never feels forced or overbearing. The characters find out about their strange situation at a natural pace, and the information they discover winds up being more and more horrifying. Between these story-driven segments of the game, we also get flashbacks into each character's personal lives. It makes the story all the more tragic knowing who each person was before they were thrust into such a harrowing situation. The audience grows attached to the main cast throughout its story, therefore every death feels like a punch to the gut. For this kind of story to work, you need a lot of well-written exposition, and you need the audience to get to know the characters. This would be incredibly hard to do in 4 episodes, which is how long the anime ended up being. I couldn't find an explanation online as to why the anime is so short, but my guess is that it would be to budget restrictions. If that is the case, the show might have benefited from being a short movie rather than a short episodic series. Had I not played the game before watching the anime, I likely wouldn't have found these characters very memorable, as we don't get to spend a lot of time with them. The only death in the anime that I thought worked just as well as the game was Seiko's. I believe it's because we had an entire episode to build up their relationship with Naomi before it was revealed. Most of the other deaths in the anime were different to the game, which I don't think is a bad idea in concept. The game had multiple endings, so it's understandable that the anime would want to take alternate routes when telling its story. The problem is that most of these deaths were for shock value rather than to leave a lasting impact on the viewer. In the game, you feel genuinely sad seeing a character die and were rooting for them to escape, even when the odds were stacked against them. It showed that even in the darkest of hours, a glimmer of light can shine through. In conclusion, the anime isn't bad and is worth a watch if you're already a fan of the series and its various adaptations. If the anime left you disappointed, I'd recommend the manga, which I found to be a great adaptation of the game's story. In my opinion, if you want to see the best version of Corpse Party, try the game for a more thrilling, engaging, and horrifying experience.